Let me do my attempt check. Okay, 2059 and 2059 plus 17,989 plus 2059. So pretty much 20k 048. Okay. Okay, I'm definitely giving this a like. It's been so good to me. Okay, I may make a review on this like later. Alright, so I'm gonna tell you about my experience from attention from 0, and I guess I can also take that from the copyables as well. So the beginning of the level, so from 0 to 12% was pretty consistent. It took me a while to learn some timings like the 1% green web, the 4% blue web at the ball section, and learning that I can always click the blue web at 7%. I used to just skip that, or I think it was like some sort of like late timing, and I learned that like probably on my second session of playing attention. So after that, it goes to ship part from 12 to 30%. That was pretty fun. It did take a little bit to like get consistent at it from 0, as besides from the studying like green orbs, the triple green orbs you had to do at that ship part which was a little tricky. It was mainly due to 20 to 24%, which was mostly the slow like short wave part that was killing me a lot. And then of course the jumps were also a little bit of a timing issue, but it was like pretty easy to figure out as well. And then after I got over those two, it was pretty chill. Which leads me to 30 to 44% with like the mini robot and then the cubes and all that, which it's definitely the easiest part of the entire level for sure. But I did have a couple dumb mistakes like in each session. 31 was often like a common death, 32%, and then 37 like just a few times, which is areas that came to mind. Otherwise that part's pretty easy. I think because of those deaths I just played from like 29% in the copyable like a lot. After that, I think once you get done 44%, I think that's when the first half of the level is complete, and it just goes to the second half, which is 44 to 100 for me, which leads to the duel section. The duel had a few challenges, but it ultimately became consistent too. The mini waves like in between each duel, I did die to those a couple times, but they aren't too bad either. I would say like one of the first major problems was the start of the duel, which was the first 2 clicks of the UFO. If my first click didn't get the robot boost, like if it didn't get like enough of like a jump, it would die to like the first spike after it changes gravity. If I click too late on those first 2 clicks, my UFO dies first. So I faced like a couple deaths there from a couple of sessions that I did. But from playing the duel like a lot in the copyable, I think I was able to get a lot more consistent at doing those clicks, which definitely gave me a lot more duel attempts past it, which is pretty nice. Another tiny issue was the green orb at 60%. Like, that's a pretty tough timing. And I would consider it just a tiny choke point. It isn't too bad. It is not too bad, but it is a choke point nonetheless. I feel, because you can't mess up to it. What made it a little easier was that I was able to pick up a sound cue which usually occurs during the duel section. It's just a background noise that just repeats itself multiple times during the duel section of the song. And I think I was able to time that a little bit to that 60% green orb. And it definitely made it a lot easier for me. So, yeah. Overall, the duel part was really fun. I love playing that part. So now we move over to the hardest part of the entire level, which is 62. Being very infamous for being just a very hard click. So some of the ways I tried practicing it was to make my own copy, which just had the 62% click and it replayed like 4 to 5 times in a row. And I played plus beated that like a few times. I took that from IDC Exists like Cataclysm video on him just like beating the ship section like many times. I guess what also helped was just doing runs that didn't start from 62, and then also like playing from 62 as well, from 62 to 100. From Zero, my experience from it, I definitely got lucky beating it, like getting past it the first 2 times from Zero, which gave me my new best of 77 to 83%. But after that, I died to like 62 like 3 more times, and there was like one attempt where I did get past it, only to die to 63%, which that was pretty funny. And I say like on my final section of attention, like my muscle memory got like very good up to the point that I wasn't dying to it on the winning session after doing some of the stuff I just mentioned. So I guess what also really helps is just trying to get very consistent on the previous part so that you have like more times to get to 62. After that was the cube, and there wasn't really much to talk about with the cube. Outside of that, it was the peak of my nerves from Zero. Doing the green orb click at 77 instead of waiting to hit the blue pad and then doing the pink orb, honestly it was a lot easier. And the pink orb also has a sound cue as well that I was able to pick up. Finally, there's the last section, which is 81 to 100. And that was also pretty hard because of the first ship segment from Zero, which I died to like 3 times. And then the duel segment like after, which as I was doing it in the car variables, I was dying to 87 and 90% like a couple times. But outside of that, those two are like pretty chill. I think it's pretty important that you do many runs that connects to 81 to 100 or from it, as deaths there happen a lot. You can die to that. As even though I put a lot into it, I still ended up having like 5-ish deaths to like this section. So it's definitely something like I would recommend over practicing. Overall, I had a really good experience of attention, which I'm very glad. Opinions on attention though are pretty split, but I think I would recommend it if you're very interested in it and you really like the gameplay, if you tried it out. But if you're going from Zero on it, definitely be a little bit cautious, as 62 and the ending are very hard, and getting unlucky there can be very brutal sometimes, so definitely take that into account.